Welcome back to the Glint Standard. Today, Craig and I are going to be discussing personalization within marketing and the impact that that can have on your campaigns. All right, so big topic as we start to move into 2020, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's starting to do all their stuff for the year. We are starting to see a lot more of a push going towards personalized marketing.
Right.
So, in your opinion and thoughts and expertise, of course, we love the wisdom.
Right.
What is personalized marketing?
Can go a lot of different ways. The obvious thing that jumps out, right? It's using people's names. Hey, John, Jane, thanks for coming to visit our store. Here's an offer just for you type of thing.
Right.
I think that's happened so often now that people understand that there's not a big wow how they do it anymore. Where in the beginning it was. On traditional marketing, even you'd have their name on the mailers, and put them on a license plate on a car on a mailer if you're trying to sell them a car. And wow, that's really cool. How do you do that? It's amazing, right? And it's pretty amazing that it can be done. But personalization is really taking that next level and trying to not just create a message that's enticing to an entire audience, right? That's still part of it, but to you. Right? To Ryan, if you will.
Right.
Oh, that's just for me? It feels good. I mean, it does feel good, especially if there's a great offer behind it.
Yeah.
That you're doing unique for them. Now, everybody knows it's going to probably 20,000 other people too, but
maybe nowadays, right? I think that's part of the shift that I've noticed. Going into the back end of systems and looking at some of the ad campaigns that have been set up by other agencies, other freelancers, other digital firms, all that, and taking a look at what some other people have done, what I'm starting to realize is there is a marriage between personalization and hyper-targeting, right? So you're getting much smaller list of people, like much more focused with our targeting, but then adding personalization on top of it, and it feels even more like, oh wow, like I was just looking at your website and I was looking at that specific red car, and now you're saying, hey John, check out this red car, right?
Yeah, and that happens in a lot of ways. You can do it on outbound, right? If you go hit the Wall Street Journal, and or you've been searching for, let's just say it's a red Volvo, like you just mentioned, right? And then you hit the Wall Street Journal. Well, you've captured those IP addresses. Hey, this person doesn't just want a Volvo, they want a red Volvo.
Right.
So let me send them this ad, which is already pre-built, right? All the colors are already done, with a special offer just for them. And, wow, I was just looking at a red Volvo. That's great. And wow, that's great. I'm going to click on that. And then on the back end too, if you take, let's use a financial institution, a bank, credit union type of thing, right? And we'll stick with the car. I've got a car loan. I've got a 9% interest rate, if you will, right? If you're doing credit checks and things like that, and banks tend to know your credit and everything, what will happen is they can go, wow, they're at a 9% there. We know their credit's awesome. This is personalized for them, an offer that I can shoot over to them and says, why don't you come get a 4%?
Yeah.
Save you half.
Yeah.
That's significant.
Well,
that's personalization too.
Yeah.
But it's not using John or Jane, if you will, not using the name. You can still do that.
Still do, yeah.
But when you think of personalization, it's not just about using a name. It's about bringing things that somebody actually wants and is interested in and will use.
Right.
Right?
Right. Over the years, we have started to notice the trend towards personalization. Everybody wants that just because it does have an effectiveness. When you're starting to make a personalized offer, right, or hey, John, or email's been doing it for a long time, right? And
sure.
And what we saw is open rates, click rates, all of that. When you add in the actual name of a person, or you've collected more information about them through a website form or something like that. Oh, I have an interest in this type of, go back to the credit union, this type of product that they offer, right? Well, now we're throwing that in the, hey, we have great specials on credit cards coming up in the next couple months, right? And it's because they filled out a form that they were interested in credit cards. And now, how often are you looking to do that within the next couple months? Okay, great. And you add all of that in and layering in multiple types of personalization, it feels very much like this is really just for me, right? And
Yeah.
one thing that I'm interested to see happen, right? We've talked about marketing automation in the past. We've talked about doing some of those platforms and building those in with the CRM and connecting it all together. And I would be very intrigued to see if there's not a trend that starts to happen where, and it probably is already happening in some industries, where it's not the fancy looking email anymore, right? It's very generic. It looks like it came from somebody, right? And it's not so much like, it's like, hey, Craig, and it looks like a normal text email. I know we get a ton of them being in the marketing side of things, but it would be interesting to see how that shift starts to go towards consumers as well.
And it's already doing that a little bit. I think where you start to have to be careful is, are you trying to fool people? Does it feel like you're trying to fool people?
Yeah.
We know this stuff really well because of what we do. We're marketers, right?
Right.
We know advertising, we know branding. The consumer, you assume, does, but not to the level we do usually.
No.
And they're often surprised. I mean, talk to your parents. Talk to my mother, right? Half the time she still doesn't really even completely understand what we do.
Yeah, right.
She's very supportive, but she still doesn't really get it.
Right.
Right? I think consumers are there a little bit too. They know what's available for the most part, and they know they've gotten some unique offer that they felt really good about.
Right.
So they know it can happen, but not everybody does it. So the more that starts to happen, I think that is going to lose a little bit long term. So then you have to be creative. Okay, now what do we do?
Well, and I think that's part of this series that we're doing right now, right? If you're doing your basic marketing, if you are, using forms and capturing information, the next step that you can start taking is using that information, right, and utilizing it for personalized messaging going out, right? If you were to, in an ideal situation, you were using hyper-targeting, contextual marketing, and personalization on top of everything, it would literally be somebody who has taken an interest in a red Volvo. His name is John, and he sees a message that says, hey, John, here's your red Volvo, while he's reading about the newest, latest, greatest red Volvos out on the road, right? That is match made in heaven.
And then the next day, tomorrow, he gets a mail that's got the exact same thing on it.
Right.
I mean, you're really getting them at that point. Bring this in today, and I'll give you $500 off.
I guarantee you, John is coming in.
He's like, all right, I get a red Volvo.
That is the car I want. That is interesting. So I think that's where everything's headed. And if you are doing already the basics, right, as we've said, taking that next step really is starting to look at personalization and how you're tying all of that in and being able to be consistent with it, but also get more information. I think that's one of the hardest challenges we've found with a lot of clients is how do you go get that info, right?
Well, and you can get it, and it's work to get all that set up. It just is.
It is.
Capacity is a big piece of it. The thing you said a minute ago is consistency with it all, right? You've got to have consistency. You can't set this standard of this is who we're going to be and then go, wow, this is too much work. I don't have enough people. It's, the follow-up's hard. And you have to remember, if you start doing that, your return on investment as far as people going, if you do direct mail, it's 1 to 2%. Well, now it's at 5, maybe it's at 10, maybe it's 15 if you nailed it.
Right.
If you can't support that, that's as bad as if nothing came in at all.
Right.
And you have to be aware of that, where you really need to be hitting the middle.
Yeah.
You don't want an extreme on either side, on the high end or low end type of thing. So you can truly manage your business and manage your process through that.
Right.
And that's where you have to be careful with this type of
stuff. Well, and we talk about it with our clients. Whenever we bring them in and we show them campaigns and we're looking at it, we're going, great. Fulfillment for this, right? We're obviously handling it, but customer support, right? What happens if people start to blow up on comments on a Facebook post that does extremely well? What do we do? How do we handle that? Who's handling it? All those kinds of things. They all need to be thought out. Even if you're not hiring an agency and you're doing it internally in your own business, you need to think about, do we have internal staff support to be able to handle, and who is going to manage, and how are we going to manage comments coming back, right? And feedback coming back, negative or positive, right? Because it could be extremely positive and going, I want to sign up today. How do I do it? Somebody's got to answer that. Because you leave that unanswered,
3 days later,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and that's the key, I think, to where marketing is going as well, and the personalization piece of things. It's very much that, what are you going to do with it? and really sitting down and putting a true plan together about if this happens, what do we do? It's the whole original programming that I learned, if this, then that, right?
Oh, yeah.
And the basics of basics. It's still relevant today.
Yeah.
And in marketing terms, if this happens, we get 100 people, we're expecting 10, what do we do?
Right.
If we're expecting 10, we get none, what do we do? If we get 10, what do we do? How do we handle it? And how do we monitor it so we can find the sweet spot?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Driving people to the door, you can do.
Yeah.
Right? Giving people great offers and great values and great products, you can do.
Right.
It's really that planning piece that comes into play.
Well, and one thing we didn't touch on that's almost a step right before that is you got to be able to monitor it. You got to know and have it reports set up. You have to have anything, right? No matter how you're doing the campaign, even a direct mail piece,
right.
You have to know how are people going to find this? What is the pathway? What is the customer journey? How does that all play out? Because if you don't, and you don't know how to monitor any of that, you don't know if you had 10 people or 100 people.
So let's talk about this real quick then. So if we're doing our basic marketing right now,
right,
and we want to get personal with it,
yeah,
what do we do? What's the next step?
Yeah, email is a great entry level for that, right? Most people are.
I was going to say social media, but I mean email is
well,
good too. But they're both relevant. I'll do social media. You do email.
I feel like that's backwards.
Yeah, it might be.
No, well, and that's one of the advantages we have. We're both pretty good at understanding both sides of it, right? Even though you have the gray hair, you understand all of the nuances of
Why
digital.
I have gray hair?
Yeah, I'm starting to get there.
Yeah.
It's so bad. No, I would say email. Everybody's used to personalization there, but doing it in a way that maybe people don't expect, right? So that's
that's key, I think.
Yeah, it's how do you differentiate yourself, and that's where creativity comes in, right? How are we differentiating ourselves compared to everybody else? Because doing this has been around for a while. It's not like it's some new kid on the block, right? This is a technique that drip campaigns have been using for a while.
Yeah, and you look at an email that comes through. I get them all the time too. You know what I'm doing? Delete, 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 delete. Oh, what's this?
Exactly.
That's the one you want. The what's this?
Yeah.
Right. Saying hey Craig is not enough.
And
right?
little nugget, the one that gets you to open it is the subject line.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
It's always the subject line. Is it engaging? Is it something that kind of draws me in? And that really affects the open rates of emails. Well, I mean, we've tested internally even
Absolutely.
to look at what if you add an emoji? Does that get people excited?
Probably
Does
depends
it
on
not?
who it is.
Yeah, well, demographic has a huge play in that.
So let's jump on the social then, because
Right.
that's where mine is. You want to do beyond the basics,
Yeah.
right? And I'm not even the digital guy, right? Understand it, don't know how to do it. But I've got the right team in place
That's
to help
true.
with that.
That is
and
true.
Glint is working through that pathway well. But if I want to touch people who are having birthdays this month, I can do it.
Yeah.
Right? And I can send something special to a group of people. It's not hyper personal, but it's going to, I know who it's going to, and I can say what I want to on it, right? And that's just beyond the basics. That's just part of the, in the campaign setup area of the business manager, right?
Absolutely.
So.
Well, appreciate it. Thank you so much for the chat, and love to hear from you guys as well. Leave a comment below. Send us a message on any of our social media platforms because we do monitor those. We check all the comments and we do respond. On top of that, you can always email agency@theglintstandard.com, and that'll be somewhere on the screen or below as well, so it's easy to get to. But yeah, feel free to send us any topic that you'd love to hear from us about. We'd love to discuss it. Even if we've done something in the past, we'd be happy to go more in depth on anything as well. So feel free to reach out.